What's up, guys? I wanted to just go ahead and record a video and share something that has been really on my heart lately. And just like before, when I get something like this on my mind, I can just monologue on and on about it, and I'll try to post about it. In fact, I have tried to post about it a few times on Instagram. And I'll get the, oh, your caption's too long. So I'm going to do it here instead, just like my other one. And the topic that I wanted to talk about that has just been so on my heart lately is getting out of the eating disorder mindset prison for someone who maybe doesn't necessarily fit that cliche or diagnosable category, the extreme, if you will, of what an eating disorder looks like. And I say that because I think that we kind of are in a society where there has to be extremes for everything. Like, when you hear the term eating disorder, you probably think of someone who is maybe severely overweight. I'm talking to the point where it's unhealthy, like heart is affected, breathing, that sort of thing, and you might think with that, okay, maybe they have a binge eating disorder, they just can't stop, and that's a disorder. Or it could be someone with sunken in skin. You think the other extreme, which is completely rail thin, no body fat whatsoever, walking past, like sickly, and you might think, oh my gosh, like anorexia. Yes, 100%. Those are eating disorders. They're very serious. They're very intense, and you should talk to a professional, I believe, 100%, and get professional help for that, because it is very dangerous. But I am wanting to actually talk about it from a mindset standpoint for the individual that doesn't necessarily look like that. That it's just something that a lot of us are struggling with, maybe on the inside, and it's a very near and dear subject to me, because it's something that I've actually struggled with for years. And the reason I want to kind of talk about it, I'll just start with sharing my own story. I, in high school, shot up about 50 pounds over what my normal weight was. Just kind of out of nowhere. I mean, I wasn't on birth control or anything like that. I didn't drink, nothing like that, like the normal, like high school, freshman 15 when you get to college. I just wasn't a very active person, and I love to eat, and I just honestly just didn't really watch it, and just before I knew it, it was there. And I always kind of had a more kind of lean, skinny mother who really took care of herself, and I think I kind of always just kind of looked at her thinking it came naturally, and just never thought that it's something I'd have to actually work to maybe be like that. So I ended up dating a guy in high school, and I don't know what the reasoning was, but just for some reason I just kind of made up my mind, something snapped, like, you know what, I want to lose some weight. So I did, and I didn't do anything besides literally just kind of start cutting back my portions and drinking only water. No sodas, nothing. And the weight literally just started to kind of melt off. And the more that it came off, I mean, when I'm talking like melt off, I mean, it really did. When I just started making just some very simple lifestyle changes, I literally probably was losing 3 pounds a week off the scale. And I guess that's not super extreme when you are at the weight that I was, but still, it was very tangible, noticeable, and the more people noticed, like my boyfriend and friends, the more intoxicating it got, the more I can do just a little more, just a little more. And I'll just never forget getting to a point in my senior year where people were starting to kind of notice to a level of, you know, Sydney, I think you're okay. Maybe you should stop. I was able to wear the children's clothes in Target, and I was proud of that. I thought anyone who showed concern, and there was a few people I know specifically that did, like, check on me, that actually cared, but I told myself they were jealous, or they just didn't understand, they were just making a big deal of it, and I can lose a little more. It was never enough. It was always just 3 more pounds, just 5 more pounds. I can keep going. And I eventually got to the point where if I started to have a meal that was excessive, where I felt sick because I ate so much, I would go make myself throw up. And I told myself I didn't have a problem and I didn't have bulimia or anything like that because I only did it here and there, not all the time. And I know, like, I did it enough to where no one ever knew about it until I've told them recently. But that was a horrible, toxic start to everything. That I told myself, oh, you know, it's not the actual diagnosis, it's fine because, you know, it's not extreme. But it literally started me on this path of constantly conditioning myself that with the elimination of food, the more weight that I'll lose, that type of thing. So I ended up breaking up with that guy, you know, high school stuff. And I realized I still wanted to stay skinny because it's something that I could control. So I just kind of started a really toxic cycle throughout my entire young adult life of diet pills, extreme diets, like, gosh, the lemonade diet. I don't know if anyone remembers that one with the cayenne pepper and the maple syrup. Guaranteed to lose 10 pounds in a week. I have done anything. Any kind of diet pills, things that you can think of, extreme diets, I've done it. And always associating with eating less food or putting my body through intense rigorous things to lose weight being the goal made it worth it. So I understand that obsessive mindset, and I understand the frustration that can go into your day literally being ruined with a pound gaining on the scale or a pound going away. Or lack thereof, I guess. No change in the scale and your day being ruined by that. I know what that's like, and it's a very, very toxic, very controlling, horrible mentality to be stuck in. So I wanted to just share my story. I'm getting real and putting it all over the internet for you guys, I know, but for as many people as I've talked to that sometimes I realize have a similar story and past, if this can help them, that's what I want to do. So I just want to kind of share my own story and just kind of give this to the girls out there who maybe are in the same level. I think if you look at me, you would say, oh, I don't think you could look at me and say she's got an eating disorder one way or another. Like, I'm not one extreme where I have a ton of weight on me. I'm not that extreme of really skinny. I feel like I look pretty normal, but the mentality has been with me for years all the same and something I've struggled with, and I just kind of want to share some ways, if you're in the same boat, that you can get out of it and you haven't really known where to start. So my first thing that I would say that I did that was really helpful, maybe started about 4 years ago towards my health journey, was join a support system or a group of people where you can focus on non-scale victories. For me, I ended up going with Beachbody, and I'm not with them anymore, so this is not one of those promos of join my team with Beachbody, but at the time, I had never done anything fitness related before. I didn't know anything about like push-ups, sit-ups, anything like that, and it kind of became this really awesome group that I was able to start measuring, like, okay, well, maybe I'm not losing weight on the scale, but I just did 5 push-ups, and I wasn't able to do that with the last time I did this class. So just being around a constant group of supportive people who are always celebrating the little things, like, you know, push-ups, things that weren't weight scale related, and they were, some of them were, that kind of came after the fact, but like just stuff to kind of take your focus. If you're an obsessed weight person like I have been my whole life, I would definitely recommend getting started with something like that to kind of take your focus a little bit off of that to get to the next step. Next thing I would recommend is if you just feel like you're not doing what works for you, like something just feels like it's not right for you personally, get help. Talk to a professional. I know that for me personally, I was really struggling with the fact that I saw all these girls a lot of times on Instagram that are like this big saying, I had 200 carbs today. I was like, what? Like, I've always been part of these like giant weight loss programs where I'm part of a cookie cutter group with everyone with the same diet, but I felt like I literally could only have 1,100 calories a day, like severe low carb, severe low fat, not nearly enough protein, just to maintain. So when I finally reached out to a nutritionist, like, which was 4 months ago, I can't like get into the amount of time I feel like was wasted fighting myself and finding someone who knew just a little bit more than me that could literally find out my goals, my stats, and be able to custom something where I'm not fighting myself anymore. I'm literally working with who I am and just finding ways to be able to help myself, like, has made a world of difference. So I would say if you just feel like something's not right and you don't know, swallow your pride, reach out to a professional. It's amazing how much it could change your life, which it has literally for mine. Next thing I want to recommend is find your own attributes about yourself that you like, that you think are kind of cool or have the potential to be cool, and just zero in on those. Stop comparing yourself with another girl on Instagram or another person that you know at the workplace that's like, that girl eats 3 cheeseburgers and is only this big. Meh. I was doing that for forever. It was a horrible way to be. When I finally realized, you know what? I was always, to be honest, I was always fighting my thunder thighs and my big booty. And when I finally was like, you know what? I've got the juice there. Maybe I could make myself a fine little pair. I'm being funny, but I mean, really, I just started zeroing in on all the different kind of booty exercises I could do and squats and exercises, realizing I have a small waist. Maybe I can work with that a little bit. Just finding things about myself that I like. I'm not trying to change, but just improve. That was something that's kind of gotten me far and taking the focus off of, you know, all that self-loathing. The next and last probably little thing I want to say that's a pretty tangible one is one thing that probably got me in trouble to begin with the whole weight obsession was the obsession part. I can go from 0 to 60 like that with anything if I find something that I enjoy or works. So that can even be with health. And honestly, in obsessions, sometimes I feel like I have to take a step back and realize if my day is ruined because I, for some unforeseeable reason, don't make it to the gym that day, or I can't have my macros perfectly the way I meant them to be for whatever reason, the minute that happens, that's becoming unhealthy again, because that means that I literally cannot deviate, I can't be flexible in my life. I'm missing out on probably quality time with people and other things because I'm just so worried about something like as insignificant as my weight. And I'm not saying people with goals it's insignificant, but it can completely make you miss out on the more important things in life if that's all you're focused on. So anytime that happens, I just have to take a step back and realize, you know what, I'm going to just have a wine tasting night on the couch with my husband tonight. For literally 5 months straight now, if I've had a vacation or something, guys, I will say I've worked out, I've done something, we're being healthy and monitored, but I'm planning an anniversary trip with my husband in a few weekends. We're going to Boston. My plans are 0 exercise, and we're going to be doing a lot of crawling, including beer and a donut crawl. I literally have mapped out donut places, and we're going to do a donut bar crawl. It's fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of macros. It's going to be way over what I normally track. But you know what? I truly believe having little things like that that kind of reset your focus can literally make you go so much longer in your journey in terms of balance. Because when you're going nonstop and you don't reset and enjoy life and the things that really are important, you're going to burn out. So I would say anytime you find yourself obsessing over something, just take a step back and maybe focus on something else for a little bit that'll kind of reset that battery. And the final thing I just want to say, which is so cliche, but it's so true, is just practice being grateful. When you just kind of step aside each day and realize it's an opportunity and a privilege to be able to eat healthy, to work out, to not, so many things that you have the choice to do, just looking at it from a standpoint that not everyone else can do them, can really take that perspective of what's really important, and just kind of helps you realize there are so many things that are non-scale related, again, that aren't worth obsessing over when you're trying to get out of that mindset. So I've pretty much used all of my time for YouTube, I think, to be able to share this, but I know my video quality is terrible. These are such like non-professional videos, but there's just been so many people I've realized with these forums that are not comfortable going to professionals, going to people, and that's not what I am. I'm just a real girl wanting to share with people struggles that I understand, and hopefully anyone out there who hasn't seeked out help, who's just been kind of dealing with this on their own, know you're not alone. Know that we can get through this together, and just seek out people like this that are willing to help, and you will get through it, I promise.